you can read that, I guess. All right. But if you have questions later, we'll have questions during. But that's my email, obviously. So it's a big, long email address. But you can email me with a question, no problem. So we're going to talk about video. And I put here church or business. So you think, well, that's two different things. You both have a message you want to get out there. It's your marketing message for your business or your message from your church. And the goal is to get people in the door. The business wants to get people in the door to buy their stuff, and the church wants to fill the seats. So this is what we're going to talk about. Here's my agenda. What you can do with just one camera, how you can use YouTube and streaming over the internet, your church service, and how social media fits into all of this. We'll get into multi-camera setups, and all throughout, even though I have that at the end, how your video should look, I'm going to be talking about that all throughout here. How to make the video look good. It's one thing just to shoot it, but it's going to look good. Cheapest way is with one camera hooked up to a laptop with a good internet connection. And that's what my church does. They have a camera, it's like one of the Panasonics back there. Got it on Craigslist, used. And it works. And so they have it hooked up on a lockdown shot into a laptop over the internet, and they're streaming video. And they do it for free. You could also do, besides live streaming, church announcements. Get the camera off the tripod in the balcony and go around throughout the week and do your church announcements. And we'll get into that, how that should look as well. Get a high-def camera. These are cheap. There are cameras that they call themselves high-def, and they're like $500 at Best Buy. Don't get that. Get a decent camera. If it's less than $1,000, and really what you're looking for, because audio is important. So any of those cameras and the one we have at my church, you can take audio out of your audio board right into the camera. So you're not using the camera mic. You're getting nice, clean audio from the audio board. That's important. You don't want any choke points, and so far we've talked about a little bit about that, choke points. If you've got a great projector like this, you want to have a good signal to get to it. You want to have all the signal processing along the way that will take that. And there's no point in there where the signal gets squished or overly processed. You lose the quality. So you don't want to have, if you have high-def camera, high bandwidth on the internet, high-def projector, no choke points. In fact, at my church, when we live stream, the signal just gets lost. It just stops broadcasting. And I think it's because of our internet. It's just not strong enough, so we've got to work on that. You want to record a 422 color on your camera. 444 is the best, and you don't really need that. 422 is, well, here's my most technical slide in the entire presentation right here. Movies, well, let me go back. Movies are shot probably 444. Especially if they're going to do a lot of compositing, where they're going to key someone next to the monster who's not really there, but he's animated. And so they need to have every single bit of pixels that is available in that camera to composite that guy in the shot with the Ninja Turtle, because the Ninja Turtle is not really there. So they got to fake it, and they got to make him look like he's there. So you can't have any kind of imaging or artifacts around the guy's head, even if he's got fuzzy hair. You want to get every little hair.
What do those numbers mean?
Well, a 4 pixel is a sample of, when you say 444,
yeah,
it's 4 pixels wide, and that's about a millimeter. So if you got your laptop, a millimeter is about 4 pixels wide. So if you got 4, the first 4 would be the luminance signal. You never mess with the luminance signal, because your eyes can see luminance changes very easily. Color, you can get by with a little bit less. So when you go 444, that means every single pixel has every single color and every single luminance value to it. And that's, you think, oh, that's good. Well, it is good. But you don't need it, because the eye can't really perceive between 444 and 422. 422 is half the color information. So it's a smaller file. And if you're going to chroma key, green screen somebody, and church announcement videos are a lot of green screens. And if you've got someone who is completely bald and he wears nothing like this, you know, you could probably get by with less than 422 camera. You can get by with a cheaper camera. But if you got somebody like me and some of the hair is sticking out, and you want to make sure this isn't just, when it doesn't get keyed away, and if you have a 420, in fact, that camera back there recording is recording 420. So it's good quality, but for green screening, I'm not saying 420 is bad, but 422 is what you need for green screen. And where you're going to see it is if there was a green screen behind me, and you look at my arm, and then right here, right next to it, is the green. So on the picture, you're going to see the white, and then it goes to green. Well, you want to make sure that when it goes from white to green, it goes immediately white to green, not like a little bit white and a little bit green, and finally the green. Because then you'll see noise all around the person if it's a cheap camera. So that's why you want 422. So that's the most technical slide I've got for my presentation. This is the camera my church has. It's no longer available. It's a discontinued model. The one on the left back there is the replacement model. This shoots 422, and it also, you can't see from this angle, but the other side has balanced audio inputs. And we take a feed from the audio board right into the camera, and then on the other side, again on the other side, is a FireWire output, goes to a laptop, goes to our wireless internet. We're broadcasting. Real simple, it's one camera. This is another camera. It's a little cheaper than the other one, because the other one, brand new, I think that Panasonic goes for about $4,000 or $5,000. This one's about $2,500. And this camera is really small. In fact, it's about that big, my 2 fists, lens and all. Now the bar may be a little bigger, and that shoots 422. And all of these cameras can work in multi-camera setups. So that's a big deal. And that is a nice little camera. It looks really tiny when you hold it, and to put it on a big tripod or a crane would be kind of weird looking, but still, it makes great looking video. This is a nice little camera. Let's see, where am I on my notes? One camera can be used for live streaming and video announcements. This is where you want to, if you're going to spend the money on something, you want to make the most use of it. So just taking an expensive camera, which could be a couple of thousand, maybe 3,000, and just using it 3 or 4 hours on Sunday morning, that's kind of a waste of money. You could take that same camera throughout the week and shoot the midweek service. Shoot stuff that the kids are doing, stuff that the teenagers are doing, and you move it all around. Now you've got an opening. You could put together what we're doing and the announcements. And you can also put the church announcements on YouTube. I don't see many people doing that. They just show it on Sunday morning and they're done. But you could put that on YouTube and get some more use out of it. Now this is a church video announcement video. I want you to see.
This Sunday is community prayer, so mark your calendars.
These are nice graphics. Now these graphics, they come with Apple's Motion. There's a green screen. And you can see a little bit of the noise.
And this is this week's announcement.
So that's not such a great camera, but it's really well done. It's a nice little opening they've got here. There's the green screen. It's not that bad at all, really. You know, they mix different formats. There's a 4x3 camera, and then they switch back to a 16:9. But you can see a little bit of a noise around him. It's not, but see, especially the elbow there. But it's not that bad. And here is a well-formatted announcement video. All the graphics you saw in the beginning, those you can buy. If you had to create that from scratch, it'd take you weeks. And so you buy some software that uses that graphic, and they give it to you for free. In fact, I belong to this. It's called videoblocks.com, and it's maybe $200 a year. They give you all their footage, plus templates. Now, most of the time when you buy stock footage, you get just a video. But with this, you get the entire software. You get all the layers in their graphics. And that kind of graphic with all those things flying around and the text and the video, that could be 50 layers. And so you could dig down into the program, find out where they have their video and put your video in there, and that's what it's designed for. Because they may have text 1, text 2 flying in, and then you just change it for yours. And it's way cheaper than finding somebody to build that. And you can get it done in a couple hours, you're all done. Otherwise, to build it brand new, I'm talking weeks to build that kind of graphic package. So you start with the intro.
What was that called again?
Videoblocks.com.
B-L-O-C-K-S?
Blocks. Video, B-L-O-C-K-S. There's others, but that's about $200 a year. And you get everything they have. You get music, stills. You even get some 4K stuff in there too. You have some 4K stock footage like trees and meadows, things, whatever. Cityscapes. A lot of HD stuff. And all these templates. You get it for After Effects, Apple Motion. There's a few others, some Photoshop files. And like I said, it's not just the finished video. It's the actual program, the project saved in that software. So if you have After Effects, Adobe After Effects, or Premiere, the whole project file. That's really handy. So you make your opening from the templates that you get for next to nothing. You build it, and you may want to change it because you may want to have a Christmas style, and maybe an Easter style, and then a summer style. You may want to have more like outdoor activities in the summer, so you want to change it up every now and then. Change it just because it could get boring, but change it for the season. Easter, Christmas. So this doesn't change much. This is welcome to the church. Glad you're here. We're a family church, and graphics, and it's fun, and it's music. Then you have the new stuff. That's the green screen stuff you shot. And the same thing as the opening. You just kind of use the same graphics back here, different words, and you may say, thank you for coming today. Maybe reinforce the times of the services. Welcome, and we're so glad you came. And you go down, and you go back to the service. At my church, we use Ustream TV. Those are other ones. They're all fine. And there's free and paid versions. Ustream, I think the paid version is about $100 a month. Someone says, who uses Sunday streams? You guys do? That's about 50? 49. 49? That's not bad. And it's high def.
Stream in high def.
Yeah, so, and the free for Ustream is not high def. And like I said, I think it's probably our internet connection, honestly, because I'm up there running audio and I can look at the camera and I can see that it's not broadcasting. So I have to run down there and hit the button again and get it back on the air, which is a real pain. But is that because it's a free version? I don't know, it could be our internet. With Ustream Free, you get 30 days of storage. This is free. So 30 days of your services. I'm not sure how the limited number of viewers, they say limited number, but I'm not sure what that really means. Is that 5, 10, 20? Standard def only, and this is kind of weird. They will advertise on your site. So they'll put a graphic up over your service, and it could be Publix. Maybe you don't care about that, but maybe it's another ad that you do care about, that you may not want them advertising on during your service about some, Joe's Bar, 2-for-1, ladies' night or something. You know what I mean? It's, So, all right, so there's payoffs. Nothing's free. This is my church's Ustream site. Now, we only broadcast at the low bandwidth of 320, 180. Hardly, not even standard def. That's probably good for the mobile device. If you're going to just watch our services on your iPhone, that's probably good enough. Oddly, even though it's only 30 days of storage, we have services back in May that are still available to be viewed. And maybe they're just not very careful about deleting off old services. I don't know. But we have stuff from May that still, you can still watch. And they're all here, so they're available. Now, stuff you can do on YouTube. That was just live streaming. YouTube. Your entire church service can be put on there, which is maybe good or bad. I would suggest maybe short excerpts, maybe editing, and then the weekly announcements. Because, like I said, most people, they only play the announcements on Sunday morning. Why not go to YouTube and put it on YouTube? A sermon tease. Your pastor is saying, oh, I have a new sermon series coming up. I'm going to do a little video and tease the whole thing. And then you can send it in an email to all the people and say, here's what the service is going to be about. Did you have a question?
Isn't there a limit of time for video on YouTube?
There used to be.
Yeah.
There used to be. I've seen, and it's free. There used to be, I think it was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But now you can go up, an hour. You put an hour on there now. I
There are
don't.
concerts on YouTube that are an hour and a half, an hour and a quarter.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had this video that was an hour long, and I wanted to upload it, and I couldn't. So I had to chop it up into parts. But now I'm going to put it back together and upload it. But yes, you could put up an hour, maybe longer. And there must be a limit. But yeah, there's no limit. Just 3 hours? Okay. Well, that's a long service. I hope your pastor doesn't go 3 hours. You got more problems than one. Testimonies from people and missionary updates. This I like. How many times has a missionary come to your church and they say, oh, we're going to dig a well in some African place, some African country. We're going to take a collection up, and everybody's oh yeah, here we go. And he takes the collection. Thank you, everybody, and off he goes. You don't hear a thing about that. Well, why couldn't, and you know he does this, that missionary is going to go drill the well. He's going to take pictures with his cell phone. He could email those pictures to everybody that gave. Now your pastor gets the pictures, you put it into a video, and you say, look what we did. We took up a collection, and this is the result. Aren't you all happy? I think that's a good idea. And I've never seen that. And you know that with a cell phone, and he's going to go over to in the field, and he's going to take pictures, and he'll have an update. Video tour, if you're in a building program, people are giving to a building program, it's nice to show them an update. And all this is on YouTube. And of course, music performances. Now, this one. Go.
Get around the copyright issues on music. Because I don't think CVLI or CCLI will cover that.
I've heard of several people with YouTube bumping into it
Yeah.
down on YouTube.
Really?
Even though they have a CCLI or something that should cover it. It's Google, and you're going to really, you can stomp.
Yeah.
They take you down. Still got
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess, what were the ramifications of that? Would they just say, take it down, and so you do?
Then they had to contact them and say, hey, no, we're good. And they go, oh, oops, sorry. And they do it again in a month. That's some of the cases I've seen, but
Okay.
Google don't care, so.
Yeah.
It also depends on how long you're going to use that music. If it's, an hour concert, it needs to be your own content. But if you're using just a snippet, you can
That's true.
release up to 8 seconds. So it depends on how much usage you're going to use of that audio content. If you're posting Natalie Grant's latest concert on your own website, there's an issue. But if you use just a snippet of maybe an intro of a song to bring into whatever other content you're going to take over from there,
Okay.
you have about that 8-second window there to get that through. But CCLI is looking into some of that because more and more people are doing video content and stuff. So
Well, we have
give it time, it'll come through.
we have a lot of music performances on our YouTube channel, and we haven't had any issues yet, so maybe they didn't catch us. I don't know. Do you have a question?
One more question. If you do a YouTube, I don't want you bogged down on YouTube, if you do a YouTube, how do you can set it to stop all the other stuff. You can just embed your YouTube, play your YouTube, and not have all the side suggestions.
Yes, you can. You can do that.
I've done, I just kind of.
Yeah, you would take the URL of that actual video, embed that into your Facebook and Twitter, your website, everywhere. This is interesting, this idea here. I would imagine because it happens in my church. Like the Israel-Hamas conflict going on, all the rockets and bombing. People may ask the pastor, what's the biblical perspective of something going on in the world? They might ask. So why not have the pastor do a little YouTube video discussing the biblical implications of whatever is happening in the world? Now, you can't get too political. That's you can't go there. But any world event, I think people might be interested in this. And I'll tell you why later, because I'm going to get more into YouTube and how you can really get a lot of views on YouTube. This is my YouTube channel. That's my church, our staging, and we're singing a song that's probably copyrighted. So we haven't had anybody say anything yet. Now down here, just below, is the description section and the tag section. This is where you want to put a lot of information, because it's not just the video. You want to drive traffic to your website via your Twitter, Facebook, website, and YouTube itself. So what goes in the description is the entire text of what is spoken. Because Google or Yahoo or any search engine, none of them watch your video. The only way they know what's on the video is what you tell them what's on the video. So that goes in the description, and that would be your script or the entire text. So if you have an entire service, either you're going to transcribe part of it, the important parts, maybe you don't, because transcribing the entire service, if he's going to talk for a half hour, 45 minutes, it's a lot of transcribing. It would still fit, and it would be fine, but that's what goes in there. And then you have the tags. What goes in there is anything you could think of that anybody would ever do a search and find you. So let's take the Israel-Hamas conflict. So you would come up with any combination you could think of. Conflict, Israel-Hamas. Biblical implications of Israel-Hamas. Any combination you could think of, you put it in the tags. So when somebody does a search in YouTube, then they'll find you. And that drives traffic to your website, to your church. You get more attention. Here's a YouTube video format. It looks very similar to announcement video. Grab their attention right away, especially a short YouTube video. If it's a service, well, then it's the service. If it's an announcement video, it's the announcement. But if you're doing something specifically for YouTube, this is what you want to do. And I'll tell you the difference, because in a broadcast commercial, you're sitting on your couch watching TV, and a commercial comes on the air. Let's say it's a windshield repair place. They're on the air all the time. Well, they're hoping to catch you when you need to have your windshield repaired. You may not, but you might. And so they don't know what state you're in. They don't know if you're ready to buy a windshield repair, or maybe you will in a week. They don't know. They're just hoping to catch you. So it's very passive selling. YouTube is much different, because someone put in a search bar on YouTube and said, what is the biblical perspective on the Israel-Hamas conflict? They just told you what they want in the search bar. So you already know what they want. It's not like a passive commercial on the air where they're hoping to catch you. They put in the search bar what they want. So you already know they're looking for what you have. So you tell them within 6 seconds. So you want to know the biblical perspective of the Israel-Hamas conflict. Well, I know the answer. That's what you want to do. If they're searching for some kind of a video like that, if you're doing a video specifically for YouTube, if it's your service, well, it's your service. So you don't have to reformat that. But if you're doing a YouTube video, you're trying to attract attention, either business, windshield repair, whatever, they're all the same. Get their attention within the first few seconds. What you don't want to do is, I'm Pastor Giles from St. Ralph's Episcopalian Church out on US 19. We've been here 50 years. I'm the third pastor of many. And okay, they've clicked away. They've clicked away. No, you want to grab their attention right away. Qualify yourself. You just said something kind of, you're claiming some authority. So tell them why you can say that. And then end with a call to action. For more information, come to our church. We're located at, that kind of thing. So they don't even know who you are until the end. Now you may have a lower third graphic, Pastor Ralph, you may have that. But really, you're going to give them the information right away. That's real important. Video in your social media website will increase your Google rankings by 40 to 50%. Real important. Why is that? YouTube is the second most, some of you guys may know this, 98% of the searches that are done on Google. And then also YouTube will share that power too. And so when you have a video on your Facebook, your website, Google likes that. And if you have a lot of them, they like it even more. So if you change it up, even just your church announcements, that's one a week. That's pretty good. That's better than no video at all. And if you put just the church announcements video, your Google rankings will go up. But if you start to do small things like sermon teas, the missionary update, the world event type things, now it's even more. Now you're flooding Google with all this new video that you've got on your website, and you're really getting attention. So when someone does a search for a church, I need a church, blah, 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 yours is going to come up because you've got a lot of activity with this video. Also, this is new. You've all heard of hashtags. Well, it's in Twitter. Facebook also uses hashtags. So this will help increase the traffic. And I'm using this again, the Israel-Hamas conflict. So you put a hashtag in there. And all that means is all the people that are interested in that subject with that hashtag, it all kind of gets them to congregate in one cloud, ethereal location out in the netherworld of the internet. And so all those people that are interested in that, they're going to get higher ratings on the search if you include that. So if you've got a video and you're talking about the biblical perspective of the Israel-Hamas conflict, and you put that hashtag in your Facebook, and then you put the URL of the video in there, now you're getting a lot more traffic. So now you're really increasing the traffic. Multi-camera setups. Basically, you're going to take your audio signal, go into a video record, control, and switcher device. And Brad was talking about some of these. I put this one here. This is a good one. It's a little different. You have to really know what you're getting at for production switchers. This one is a one rack unit device, that wide, and you put all your video and audio signals in it. Out comes a control cable to your laptop, and you control all the cameras on your laptop. And it records as well. And then you send that out to the internet on your live stream. And the cool thing is all those cameras, that switcher laptop, about 24 for 25,000. That's high def cameras. And now that's on installation, so if you know how to put it all together, well, save a lot of money. But if you don't, you might have to call Keith or somebody. But I'm amazed at that price because I've been in this business a long, long time. And we had some of our special services we wanted to record and air it. And we had to hire a truck, and they had 4 or 5 cameras and lights, and they had 5 guys in the truck and 5 guys in the cameras. It cost us like $20,000. That was just one service. Now you get all this equipment for almost the same price, and now it's yours. And you could even do leases. You can do a lease option. So if it's cash, you got a cash issue, you can do it with a lease. But this is, that price is, it's mind-blowing for me. And the cameras I showed, the Canon, this one, any of those Panasonics, they'll work fine. Oh, I want to show you this. Now I'm getting into the art. In my opinion, the Joel Osteen Show, his church service is one of the best, if not the best, produced church services. I like the way it's shot. Everything, every camera change has a purpose. And he's looking at the camera, and it's so well done. If you're going to get into multi-camera shooting of your services, study this show. When they take a shot, especially that crane shot that's around the side, it's almost always he's changing the subject. He's maybe talking about an illustration, a story. He goes, I know a man who did this and he had this and this is, he was healed. Or he would talk about, now he's changing the subject a little bit. So they go to another shot because in your mind, you've kind of adjusted your seating. Your mind is making an adjustment. So you want to show that in the video so that you take another shot and you don't just do it for the hell of it. You don't take shots because there's a church that shall be nameless. I like their church, they're great. But every single camera take is a dissolve. And they take cameras constantly without regard to the message. Because really, video is a tool. When a carpenter buys a hammer, he's not selling hammers. He's telling what he can do with the hammer. So video is a tool. And the message is the product. So you want to make sure that everything you do, audio, video, projectors, it enhances the message, because that's the most important thing. So any camera take has to enhance the message. You don't just do it for the hell of it. This church, that is Nameless Church, they air their show, so they got to get it to a half hour. So if they got a clip like that wide, and they got to take out this middle portion because maybe the pastor stumbled or they don't want it, so they just take that out and put it together. Now it's camera one, but now there's an edit. So if they were to cut and just let the video roll and show that cut, his head might be over here. So he's going to be all of a sudden like that. So what do? They dissolve. Like a 3-second dissolve. So for 3 seconds, the guy has 4 eyes because it's like, you know, it's hideous. So don't do that. Study this show. Study this show. Because every camera take is almost always at the end of a sentence or at a pause. And that crane shot is always when he's changing the subject or the pacing. It's got a bit of it's an art form, but it's all supporting the message. So you will start with maybe one camera. Make sure that camera can be used in a multi-camera setup, so you're not wasting money. Like that Canon I showed you and any of those Panasonics, those are fine. And the same camera should be purchased. It's difficult to match cameras if they're all different manufacturers, different styles, different models. This church that's nameless, if you were to watch the video, there's a white balance and a black balance, and in the shadows, they might have a color. And that black needs to be black. It's not purple, it's not green, it's black. So every camera should say, that's black. Some other cameras say, no, I think it's green. Another one goes, nah, it's kind of purple. And you see that, it looks awful. And that's because their cameras don't match. They're different manufacturers, different models. So get the same camera. And then volunteers. Most of these church video productions, audio, is run by volunteers. So normally, without video, you might have an audio guy and maybe somebody doing graphics for the courses. So there's 2. But with 4 cameras, you've got 4 operators. You've got 2 guys maybe at the console, one switching for cameras, and one guy running the iris on the cameras when they switch from the audience to the platform. You know, the iris has to come up and down. So you got 5 guys minimum on video, plus the audio. So you got 7 to 8, maybe 10 per service. That's a lot of volunteers. And you can burn them out. So you don't want to burn them out.
Don't mention that.
Well, because there's 2 audio guys, me and this other guy, so we take turns. And he can't make it, so I do 2 in a row, and well, you take the next 2. But if you're on camera every single Sunday morning, that's going to get old, So you need to switch out crews. And then with more cameras, you're going to need more lighting, better lighting.
Yes.
Got to have that.
And going with that, what do you think about putting cameras on like a remote type?
That works, especially in a smaller church.
Like two
well-
operators and then two on the.
You could do that. You could have some cameras that are robot,
Yeah.
where they're not going to change much the shots very often. It's going to be maybe a head-to-toe shot of the pastor, and unless he runs, if the pastor runs a lot. If he just takes off running, then that robot's not going to keep up with him. But if he's just walking, yeah, you can do that with the remote control. And there's somebody back there with a switch, so that could be almost a lockdown. But
We'll talk about some of that.
yeah, some of that later, yeah. But a lot of times you're going to want an operator just to give it that organic human feel, especially close-ups. And if you have a crane shot, well, you got to have an operator on that. But yeah, you could mix it up. Maybe some robotic cameras, but then you're going to have somebody on the remote control of the robot, unless it's a truly fixed camera and it's just getting the platform and it never moves from that shot. Okay, if the guy doesn't move very much, but if you got a guy that likes to walk all around, take off running.
Let me text my pastor right now.
We had that discussion yesterday.
Throw something in there that we
Yeah.
consider, because we're on the verge of moving to something at this level. But so you've got this 7 volunteer setup.
Yeah.
You've got all the equipment, you got all the gear, and this Sunday you roll it out and it looks great. The next Sunday is Labor Day weekend, and all your volunteers are
Oh yeah, that's bad.
you shoot it with one camera.
Oh.
And so now your audience is seeing a really great production one week, and it's really bad the next. And then you never know how each week goes. So I've been telling my bosses, if you're going to commit to this,
Yeah.
you got to commit to it every single.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
And sometimes that means volunteers, and it might mean staff if you want to do it every
Yeah, because you
single
want
week.
consistency.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got to be consistent.
A lot of churches are hiring at least 1 or 2 people to be their media person. At least that's the organizer. He's the guy, and his job is more than just doing video, but it's organizing volunteers, and that's the hard part.
Along that same line, Dewey, which is good, it's good to develop a good volunteer team so they're not out there every Sunday. And I know that depends on the size church. One thing that we're working on is we have access to some of these schools that have, the kids need internships. Some of them are video, some are film, some are audio. And we're working on a program where we can pull in, so when you get in that situation, call me up and say, hey Keith, I need some interns. All we're going to do is make sure that they understand what you need, and they can run either a camera or they can shade a camera on a CCU, and that way we'll have a pool of people that we've already said, yeah, they can handle this, and say, here you go, Dewey, here's a couple. That's going to be a free service because it's an internship. They need to learn how to do it in the real world instead of just behind a book. So,
Yeah, case in point on that, there was a young guy at our church, and he was volunteering, helping out, learned a lot of stuff. He got pretty good. A church hired him, and he's only at our church maybe a year learning all this stuff. He's got a full-time job now in St. Pete doing this. So, a good-sized church, they're looking for people like that could handle this kind of information, this kind of video. And I think I'm done. Any more questions? Yes.
Do you have any recommendations on video editing software that you use?
I like Adobe. One of my former jobs was an adjunct instructor at St. Pete College. So I still have that status. So now I get the educational discount. So for $29 a month, $29 a month, well $30 because it's $29.99, $30, I get everything Adobe makes. And it's a cloud account, so I get everything. Most of it I don't even need. Some of it's stuff I would never use. But it's everything. And that price is unbelievable.
Do you just need the .edu address?
Yeah. So I think a church could probably handle the same thing. Get an educational discount. And you get everything they have. And all the latest updates too. You don't have to wait for a year to get the new CD, DVD. They give it to you right away. So if there's 4.1.1, you get the .1 right away. And it's everything. You get, most of it you won't even need. But if you have somebody that does websites in your church, they gave you Dreamweaver, Muse. There's a few others. But if you have somebody that does websites, they get all this free software. They could do anything. So it's really a good deal. Avid is a good one, but
They also will run specials
Software itself.
where if you pay
Or Photoshop.
for a year in advance, it's less.
really,
That's what I'm on right now, and I actually had started my subscription for school at a student price, and then they had an even better deal. And even though I already had the subscription, they went ahead and changed my price.
what was the new price?
I paid, I don't remember what it was. It came out to like $15 or $18 a month for a year because I paid up front for 12 months.
Wow, you can't beat that.
Oh yeah.
That's good software, especially Premiere editing. Oh my gosh.
The two main editing software is going to be the Adobe Premiere. It's been out for years. When Apple bought Adobe Premiere the first time, they came out with Final Cut Pro. And then now that Avid owns, which is a video-based company, owns Pro Tools, Avid, all that stuff. They also came out with their own Media Composer, which is probably a little bit more, but the Premiere with the iCloud based, they're both virtually the same. If you like Macs or if you like PC, they go both both platforms.
That's the other thing about the subscription. If you own the software, you can only use it on the computer you installed it in. With the subscription, you can log in at the church and download it and use it. And you can log in at home and work on it. Go back to the church and log in and work on it.
Yeah. Mine,
For me,
I think.
I was able to do it at school and at home.
Well, mine, I think it's the same thing because mine I can have it on 2 computers. So my son has it on his laptop, all the software. So at least 2. So that's pretty good. And then it's really good software.
To shift gears a little bit, what are thoughts on a digital SLR for a camera solution?
Well,
Becoming more and more popular
they
in
are.
video, especially on a cost-effective. But does that work in a how's it work?
That camera is a DSLR, shoots 420 color.
Okay.
Home shopping thinks it's fine. I've shot home shopping HSN stuff with it. They like it. It is 420. So the color is not quite as good as a 422 color. So if you're shooting a lot of green screen, and you could do some tests, just check it, test it out. And if the color around the edge of the person's head, if it's not that noisy, it doesn't bother you, go ahead. Use that. Now for multi-camera setups, I think those cameras would be really difficult to do. I don't even think you can with a multi-camera of a DSL with DSLRs. I don't think so. But for shooting church announcements, yeah. But then again, it's the green screen issue, so it's 420 color. So the color data is less on a 420 than a 422. Test it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
What about on his line, like a GoPro or something?
What's that?
What about a GoPro?
Put it on the pastor's head or something?
For what you're trying, for shooting announcements and stuff.
Well, if you're doing something that's not green screen, there's no king, GoPro would be fun. That'd be a nice video. Put some GoPros on some kids, have them run around and jump in those bouncing machines and all this, carnival. That'd be a fun little video. If they could leave it on the head.
I would use something like GoPro and that for those maybe quick announcements where you're going to grab just a few things and you got other graphics going into it. But that's what I call non-critical video. Right. It's just you're promoting a kid's thing or you're promoting a mission thing. Just grab it, here you go, and then you're adding other things to it. But if you definitely want to do the pastor doing a big announcement or a big push, you want to have a good camera that's going to track him and be very good looking.
I've used that camera plus a GoPro on a shoot where you have a high and wide fisheye shot, and I use that as a B-roll shot or something to edit to. That's kind of fun because it shows the lights and the camera and the whole setup. It's kind of nice to cut to that if you want to hide and edit. If you want to cut the interview down to 2 minutes instead of 10, so you got to chop it up. So you got to hide the edits. You can use another angle, like a GoPro shot, and use that as just a. And it's kind of fun. People like that. They see the lights and all that in the background.
GoPro would be nice to send off, like our church just took the teens to Atlanta to give out meals and stuff. Low income areas, and we could have, let the teens,
Yeah, put a chest camera or a hat camera.
or let
It'd be
the
fun.
teens take turns with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a camera where it's on recording, I just pass it around. And so they're kind of going like that. And so it's kind of fun, it's this weird video with, flying up noses, and it's kind of
Where
fun.
does TriCaster fall in this line of equipment?
That's a good one for, I think they're kind of pricey. They sometimes will use robotic cameras.
Right.
And we were talking about that earlier. You could use a combination of robot cameras that are affixed, but if you want to have an operator, then you could mix it up, I'm sure.
But you're recording to this Blackmagic unit that you
Yeah, well, to a laptop.
You're recording to a laptop.
Yeah.
And that's a live mix that you're recording, or
Yes.
Or if you want to do mixing in post, what would you record?
Well, you're going to record the high def images from your live switch. So if you want to fix it up, or change it, or edit, or cut something out, you would take that finished, switched, I called it a line cut, your switched recording, and you can also record each camera separately too. So every camera could record.
Right.
So if you miss a shot,
Are you recording those to a hard drive or to?
you can record it to an SD card inside the
SD
camera, in the camera, but you want to have your main video to be your switched output. So that's recorded on the hard drive on your laptop. And then you can go back in later
Substitute.
and edit, maybe add a new lower third. You didn't add it in there when you should have, or you had the wrong verse.
Yeah.
So you just put a new one on top. Or you wanted that shot, but you missed it. Somebody was reacting, they laughed, you didn't get it, but the other camera got it, but you didn't punch it up on the laptop. So you have it recorded on the camera that got it. So you put it back in. So you could re-edit your live shoot that way.
How many channels of audio are you recording to?
On that one, probably just 2. On that switcher, I don't know.
If you had an audio mess up or something, what would be your backup for?
Well, for instance, my church has a PreSonus, and you can record onto a Mac every single channel of that. So it's not just the output of the master; it's every single channel. So when you play it back from the Mac, you're playing back what is a real live mix. So you could go back and get that recording that you messed up somehow, or the cable got loose, or anything, and replace it. So you could do that. Or I guess if you had a separate audio recorder, that was your fail-safe. If you thought maybe your laptop was crapping out on you, so you wanted to have an extra recording, you could do that.
Hey Keith, is that something that you would put on, that an intern can do as a part of their program, the video editing type stuff?
Yeah, the video editing, because that's what they're learning.
Okay.
And so we're working with some of the schools to do a internship through us and be able to provide for some of our clients. It's a learning experience for them, and then now they can apply what they've learned from it. So, the video editing will be
Any more questions? I'm done. I have talked out. Okay. Great.
Everybody hungry?
Yes.
Go. Okay, let's all stand.